Hello everybody and welcome to Linguverse. I'm Laura, and in today's lesson we're going to take a look at something that my students find quite confusing. And I found confusing too when I was learning English. It is the use of pronouns, especially subject and object pronouns. I often hear in my class something like, I'd like to discuss the questions with he, or I'd like to discuss the questions with his. Or even, I'd like to discuss the questions with himself. There are so many possibilities. But guys, I don't blame you, because this feels quite confusing at first. However, don't worry, because in today's lesson we're going to clarify form and use of subject pronouns, clarify form and use of object pronouns, practice using them together in different contexts, and you'll be able to test yourself on some of the most common mistakes learners and even natives make. So stay with me till the end and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done it yet, turn on the notifications and stay updated with our newest videos. Form and use of subject and object pronouns. Subject pronouns are called like this because they appear in the subject position. They are the ones doing the action. Object pronouns are called like this because they appear in the object position. They are the ones receiving the action. And how can I know when is a subject or an object position? Well, the key to identify each of them is the verb. For example, look at my sentence. I love all of you. What's the verb in this sentence? Love. Very good. What appears before the verb is the subject, and we need to use subject pronouns. In this case, I. What appears after the verb is the object. In this case, all of you, and we need to use object pronouns. But which are subject pronouns and which are object pronouns? So the subject pronouns are I, you, he, she, it, we, you, and they. Subject pronouns appear before the verb in the subject position. Object pronouns. The object pronoun for I is me. For you continues being the same, you. For he is him. For she is her. For it remains the same, it. For we is us. For you continues being you. And for they is them. Object pronouns appear after the verb in the object position. So, subject pronouns appear in the subject position and object pronouns appear in the object position. For example, I asked him a question, they gave us some time, or I don't like her and she doesn't like me. I don't care. Now let's practice using this together in different contexts. I'll give you a sentence and I would like you to help me choose the correct pronouns to replace the information in the sentence. Are you ready? Let's practice. Example 1. My mom kissed my dad. What's the verb in this sentence? Kissed. Very good. My mom goes before the verb. And do you remember what we use before the verb? Subject pronouns. Which subject pronoun can we use to replace my mom? Correct. She. So we can also say she kissed my dad. Now, my dad goes after the verb. And do you remember what we use after the verb? Yes, object pronouns. Which object pronoun can we use to replace my dad? Him. Very good. So we can also say she kissed him. Example number 2. Spider-Man saved the old lady. What's the verb in this sentence? Saved. Very good. Spider-Man goes before the verb. And do you remember what we use before the verb? Subject pronouns. Good. Which subject pronoun can we use to replace Spider-Man? He. So we can also say he saved the old lady. Now, the old lady goes after the verb. And do you remember what we use after the verb? Object pronouns. Good. Which object pronoun can we use to replace the old lady? Her. So we can also say he saved her. Example 3. My students watch lots of series. What's the verb in this sentence? Watch. Good. My students goes before the verb. And do you remember what we use before the verb? Subject pronouns. Which subject pronoun can we use to replace my students? They. So we can also say they watch lots of series. Now, lots of series goes after the verb. And do you remember what we use after the verb? Object pronouns. Which object pronoun can we use to replace lots of series? Them. Because it is plural, and plural is always them. One boy is him, but two boys is them. One girl is her, but two girls is them. And one object is it, but two objects is them. So remember the plural is always them. So for the sentence, my students watch lots of series, we can also say they watch lots of them.
Right, I'm guessing that he bought her the big pipe organ and she's really not happy about it.
And our last example is my family and I love our village. What's the verb in this sentence? Love. Good. My family and I goes before the verb. So we need a subject pronoun, right? Which subject pronoun can we use to replace my family and I? We. So it can also be said, we love our village. Now, our village goes after the verb. So we need an object pronoun. Which object pronoun can we use to replace our village? It. So we can also say, we love it. Something very important. We use subject and object pronouns to replace information as a way to avoid repetition. So for example, I saw my sister yesterday and I talked to my sister. Does this sentence sound natural to you? It sounds repetitive and unnatural to me, kind of robotic. I saw my sister yesterday. I talked to my sister. So we should better replace my sister with an object pronoun, her. I saw my sister yesterday and I talked to her. Another example. I like Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is very sexy. Again, it sounds repetitive, robotic. I like Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is sexy. So we should replace Brad Pitt with a subject pronoun, he. I like Brad Pitt. He is very sexy. But watch out, because replacing information is not always a good idea. Look, what happens if someone comes and tells you this? She visited him this morning and gave it back to him. Do you understand this sentence? Who is she? Who's him? What did she give him back? Well, that happens because replacing information is okay as long as we have mentioned all that information before and the listener knows exactly what or who we are talking about. Otherwise, that person will feel lost and won't understand what's going on. Watch the same situation now. My sister had my brother's laptop, but she visited him this morning and gave it back to him. Ah, now we're talking. And now it's time to test yourself. Let's go through some of the most common mistakes learners and even natives make when using pronouns, subject and object pronouns, particularly I versus me. I'll give you 2 sentences using the pronouns I and me. One sentence is correct, the other one is not. I'll give you some time to think and then we'll check together. Are you ready? Situation 1. And the correct option is A. My friends and I went on a picnic last Saturday. But why? Well, because the verb is went. And what appears before the verb is the subject. We need a subject pronoun, right? My friends and I. We are the ones doing the action. We went on a picnic. Situation 2. Which one is correct? And the right option is B. My parents saw my friends and me. Why? Because the verb is saw. The subject is my parents. They saw my friends and me. My friends and me being the object. Situation 3. Which one is correct? And the correct option is B. This photo is amazing. It's you and me in it. It is the subject. Is the verb. And now we need an object. Me. It's you and me in it. And finally, situation 4. Which one is correct? And the correct option is A. This photo is amazing. You and I are in it. The verb this time is are. So what appears before the verb is a subject. We need subject pronouns. You and I are in it. To sum up the main points of today. 1. Subject pronouns appear before the verb. I, she, we, they. Object pronouns appear after the verb. Me, her, us, them. Number 2, we use pronouns to avoid repeating information because it is unnecessary. But be careful, the listener needs to know what we are talking about, so that information must have been mentioned before. And that's it. I'm sure you've got this under control now. If you would like to continue learning with me, follow us on our social media for more lessons, challenges and games. If you like this lesson and you would like me to continue preparing new ones for you, subscribe to our channel Lingobase. And in the meantime, have a look at this lesson to learn some good pronunciation tricks and this one where you can learn very good tips to improve your English. Thanks for watching today and practice this, enjoy it and share it.